And I've also got a bit of a gap in my playlist where I've not got a complete guide showing people how to completely plank a wooden hull. So I think this build of the Cutty Sark will be perfect for me to kind of fill in that gap and kind of show people how we can kind of how you can go from a beginner but come out with the other end with an absolutely perfect looking, beautiful mahogany hull. Okay, so you get the plans for the first 8 ribs. And very similar to the US Constitution, you just get the material that you need that's going to make up the first 8 ribs, and you're going to get the material that makes up the keel and the base. But I'm going to actually build it a little bit different this time. When I built the US Constitution, because you build it monthly over a long period, by the time I fitted my rib number 35 on the US Constitution, I'd started the first rib about 8 months before. So I couldn't think at the time, if I ever did another model like this, that I would actually build all the ribs first and then I would actually fit them to the keel. And that's what I decided to do on this model. So in today's video, I'm pretty much going to be starting off just building one of the first ribs, and then I'll pretty much just be keeping them in storage. When I get pack 2, I'll build the next section of ribs, keep them in storage until I get a complete section of all the, I think there's about 42 ribs on this Cutty Sark. And then once I've made all the 42 ribs, that's when then I'll bring out the keel and the base. Then I'll do a tutorial guide showing you how to fit all the 42 ribs in one go, so you get perfect alignment for when you start planking. Okay, so I've had a little bit of a change around. I've actually got now an overhead camera, especially for these kind of builds where it's like ribs. You can actually look straight down and see what I'm doing. A little bit later in the build, when I need to come from different angles, I've got these different cameras as I start to add ribs to the keel. But for the purpose of today's video, I think the overhead camera will be really good. So you get this keel section, and you get some parts that go up to make some of the ribs, and then you get some more of the ribs, and then you get some more sections to actually make the bow and the stern. Yeah, that is right, bow and the stern. And then you get some 5x5s that you kind of use to make up the cross sections. So if people watch my US Constitution, you know that I actually cut out the slots in the cross members because I was going for an open hull version. But because on this version it's going to be a complete closed hull, I won't be doing that this time. In fact, I don't even think I'll be adding the cross members to this build, because they don't really add anything structural, and I think they only really needed if you're going to do the open hull version. If you're going to plank it entirely, then I just don't think it's needed. And then you get some other material, you get some 3x2s, and you actually get some 3x3s as well that you actually use for the cross members. And then you get your first dowel, which is an 8mm dowel, which is probably going to be used for the foremast. Okay, so I've just labelled all the templates first. Makes it a lot easier to actually just write on the outsides of the frames, and then you can break them out as you need them. Okay, so you don't really do anything to frame 1 and 2. They're pretty much already made up, and you actually just fit them in a little bit later on. So I'm actually going to just turn my attention to frame number 3. So this is the frame 113 that's going to make up the bottom part of the base. So I'll get that out. And then we just need 2 ribs, which are the 114s, and that's on this section. Just pop them out. Okay, so when I did my first lot of ribs for the US Constitution, because I was doing the open hull version, I actually sanded all the interiors, all the exterior, and made them incredibly smooth, ready to kind of go. But same again, because this is the enclosed hull version, I won't actually be sanding the interior sections. I'm actually going to glue these together. Then I'm probably just going to sand a little bit at the top. But what I didn't do with the USS Constitution that I kind of regretted is I didn't clean these burn marks where the 2 parts join, and I think that's quite important. I had a few fail on the on the US Constitution. And what I mean by fail is once you're trying to put some pressure on when you planked it, some of the joints started to just creep open a bit. And I think it's just because it is obviously not actually taken to the burn marks very good. So I think it's quite important that you actually clean these. So I'm just going to take a sanding stick and I'm going to clean all these joins. So once you sanded them, I'm just going to check that they still fit nice. Yeah, it's just cleaned up them edges quite a lot, and I think just the glue is going to stick a lot better. And also I kind of sanded the individual parts first, and sometimes when you brought the parts together you may have gone a little bit deeper on one side than the other. So when I do the sanding this time, I will actually sand them after they are glued, so you just get a nice uniform face. So me, I like to draw all over my plans. So I'm just going to draw in this upper crossbar member, and I'm going to take a measurement, and that's dead on 50mm. I'm just going to take a piece of this 5x5, cut one at 50mm, and this is going to use as a brace that's going to keep these ribs perfectly in line while we do the glue up. And then you can just chop this up on the mitre block. So when we do the glue up now, because we've got this 50mm block, that'll just hold them perfectly in the right location. So don't use your plan to do any of the gluing up. Get yourself a little bit of this greaseproof paper or baking parchment, and we're just going to actually just use this for the glue up. So it's going to be using this Gorilla White glue. Actually, when I first started the USS Constitution, I actually used some Evo stick for a little bit of a change, but I was never quite happy with that, so I went back to this Gorilla Wood glue, and I just think it's perfect for what you need. Buy a big 500mm one that'll last you probably the entire model. Just going to glue up both of these faces. And then I'm just going to leave them just to go a little bit tacky for around about a minute. Yeah, it's just by leaving them to go tacky. They just once you bring all the parts together, they just kind of instantly kind of grab a lot better. Okay, so I'm just letting this go a little bit tacky. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to building this at 1/75th scale Cutty Sark. It's a beautiful model. I've actually walked on the decks of the Cutty Sark quite a few times. I've not actually been down since they had that massive fire, so I'm long overdue. I think actually I found a picture the other day and posted it on my social media, and I was I think the last time I was down in it was in 2004, and yeah, you don't realise it's almost a lifetime ago. So I let that go a little bit tacky for about a minute, and then we can just bring these parts together. So let's press them down. Just move that because it will actually just start to grab a little bit onto the greaseproof paper. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just bring across this top block that we fitted. You can see obviously you're kind of thinking yourself, oh, that's kind of nice in that location, but it's clearly not. It's about a 5mm gap, so all we need to do is just close that, and then that will just lock that into the correct location. So there's nothing really else you have to do with this rib at the minute now. You can kind of let that dry. What I tend to do, I have about 5 or 6 different pieces of the greaseproof paper, and then I'll just obviously move it to one side, bring over another piece, so another rib, and I'll work on that one. I'll just move along. Okay, so I've been looking on the instructions, and because I'm not doing this slotted system on this model, I can actually glue some of these cross members in a little bit earlier. So I'll just cut one down to size for this bottom section, and you can actually now just glue that in place. just slide that one in. Okay, so you don't have to worry about actually cleaning up the glue. And I used to actually wipe it away most of the time, but I've found out over the years it weakens the joint when you actually just clean that off with a wet brush. So what I do now is I just leave that, and then once it's dry, I'll just sand that face. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a little piece of tape, put that on that top bracket. I'm just going to write on it 3.1. So you know that's the first cross member of rib number 3, and then you can save that and reuse it a little bit later.